Arbaeen Maximal, Chapter 1, 5.1. Welcome to the audiobook for Al-Arbaeen, The Walk, written by Muhammad al-Hilli. Before we embark on this profound journey, the author begins with a heartfelt dedication. Dedication. To the one who witnessed the tragedies of her grandfather, father, mother, and brothers. To the one who accompanied her brothers and painfully went through the sorrows of Karbala. To the one who lost her sons, brothers, nephews, and family members all within a few hours. To the one who saw the enemy of God sit on the chest of her brother before beheading him. To the one who protected and looked after the orphans and the widows. To the one who was beaten, paraded, and taken as captive from one city to another. To the one who shook the kingdom of the tyrants with her eloquence, valor, and vision. To the one whom patience itself was humbled before her. To the one who returned 40 days after the martyrdom of her family to the land of the Karbala. To the one who continues to inspire millions with her eternal legacy. To the ornament of her father, Zainab bint Ali alayhi salam, I dedicate this work, seeking her intercession on the day of reckoning. Having heard the author's moving dedication, let us step into the preface, where the historical and spiritual landscape of the Arbaeen walk is first unveiled. Preface. The walk of the free, the journey of liberation, the steps to paradise, the path of loyalty, and the movement to God. Walking for love, devotion, and a willingness to sacrifice for the grandson of the Prophet, Imam Hussain alayhi salam, are the ruling characteristics of the multi-million people walk to Karbala since the year 2003. Drawing people from across the world, including different denominations and backgrounds, the Arbaeen walk has been declared as the world's largest pilgrimage. The commemoration marks the anniversary of the 40th day after Ashura, the date of the martyrdom of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, his family and companions in the land of Karbala in 680 AD. Despite little media focus and coverage, the annual walk by millions grows stronger each year. This mass pilgrimage has its roots across history, despite the attempts of tyrants and governments to eradicate it. Historical records provide us with in-depth descriptions of intimidation, harassment, and punishment for those who undertook the journey towards Karbala. This includes the Abbasi Caliph al-Mutawakkil, who severed the hands and feet of those who performed the visitation of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. During the despotic rule of the Ba'athists in Iraq, people walked from across the country to Karbala, utilizing farms and lesser-known avenues. This meant walking at night, or through small avenues and streets so as not to be spotted by government agents and spies. Despite this, many were arrested or executed. A particularly poignant incident occurred in December 1976, when the Ba'athist security apparatus brutally showered the pilgrims with bullets, killing many and injuring several more. Following the collapse of the regime in 2003, the number of people walking to Karbala increased despite the worsening security situation. The continuous bombings, kidnapping, and assassinations did not dissuade people, and they continued flocking towards the city of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Estimates show that by 2014, over 19 million people from 40 countries of the world participated in the Arbaeen walk. In 2015, Iraqi state-run media placed the figure at 22 million. The same figure was also registered for the year 2016. These figures usually include those who travel from various countries around the world, including Iran, the Middle East, Europe and America, Pakistan and India. Figures of such participation from outside Iraq have ranged from 750,000 to 2 million. The vivid remembrance and the increasing numbers of visitors to this blessed place were predicted by the sister of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, Lady Zainab bint Ali alayhi salam. In a narration, it is reported that she said to Imam Ali ibn al-Hussain alayhi salam, "Do not be sad for what you see. It is, by Allah I swear, only the announcement that Almighty Allah has already made to your grandfather and father. Allah has certainly made a covenant with some people who are not known by the tyrants on this earth, but they are well known by the inhabitants of the heavens, that they shall gather these severed organs and these blood-stained bodies to bury them. They shall also hoist in this land a tuf, a flag on the tomb of your father, the master of the martyrs. Throughout days and ages, the mark of this tomb shall never be obliterated, and its figure shall not be blotted out. Nevertheless, the heads of atheism and the spreaders of deviation shall exert all efforts for obliterating it, yet this shall make it more and more elevated instead." Noticeably, the Arbaeen walk is not specific to any age group, gender, or denomination. Men, women, children, and elderly walk for days towards the city of Karbala, braving terrorism, the weather, and living conditions to make sure they participate. They are served regularly by approximately 2,000 mawakib, or rest areas, which are set up by tribes and volunteers throughout the different roads that lead to the city. Whilst many start the walk from the city of Najaf, thousands choose longer journeys and start from places such as Baghdad and Al-Basra, 500 kilometers away from Karbala. Over the years, several terrorists have attempted to cause maximum loss of life and destruction by either planting bombs or blowing themselves up. Many were captured or were unsuccessful, and the walk has largely been trouble-free and fully safe thus far. This divine protection of the pilgrims is an indication of the special position that Imam Hussain alayhi salam occupies in the eyes of Allah. Visitors are reminded of the Qur'ani verse, "And He made me blessed wherever I am." Indeed, the blessed nature of the Imam has now extended far and wide and can be felt by the visitor heading towards the city of martyrs. This includes the power of association and loyalty to the path of the Imam, and seeking to be guided and inspired by his sacrifice and eternal message. Truly, as the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is narrated to have said, "Surely Al-Hussein alayhi salam is the lantern of guidance and the ship of salvation." The Almighty has emphasized the importance of upholding the signs that lead to Him and increase His remembrance. One such direction is in the Holy Quran, which states that, "And whoever venerates the sacraments of Allah, indeed that arises from the God-wariness of hearts." The walk of Arbaeen is undoubtedly one of the signs of God, whereby millions express their love and loyalty to a man who is beloved to the Almighty and gave everything for His sake. One may ask, why such a display of love and devotion? Why, when faced with threats, do people flock towards Karbala, completely unfazed by what could happen to them? For many, from the moment they were introduced to the values and principles which were magnificently demonstrated on the plains of Karbala 1400 years ago, they felt a sense of connection and deep reverence. In Al-Hussein alayhi salam, they find faith, truth, sacrifice, justice, honor, dignity, altruism, spirituality, sincerity, tranquility, and salvation. That is why Al-Imam Hussain alayhi salam continues to be one of the world's greatest superpowers, inspiring hundreds of millions annually to become better human beings. The walk to Karbala does not only take place during the commemoration of the 40th. During Ashura, 15th of Sha'ban, and Thursday nights, it is common to see the city of Karbala filled with visitors. Yet Arbaeen is unique. Not only do the millions of visitors seek to establish their loyalty with Al-Imam Hussain alayhi salam, but they walk to honor the sacrifice of the caravan of the captives who were paraded from one city to another, yet never surrendered or gave up. Narrations suggest they eventually returned to Karbala on the 20th of Safar, 40 days after the day of Ashura. The emphasis to uphold the remembrance of the Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam and to connect emotionally with the tragedy, including the highlighting of the immense reward of walking to his shrine, has been encouraged by the Ahlulbayt alayhimus salam. This is not for ritualistic purposes, though. Rather, for centuries, such commemoration seeks to establish the tenets of Islamic teachings and bring people closer to Allah. The spirit of mourning for Ashura fulfills the objective of Islamic teachings: complete submission to God and the obedience of His commands. Having been blessed to undertake the walk to Karbala during Arbaeen for several years, I decided to work on a publication that highlights the background, philosophy, and merits of undertaking this act of devotion. A few personal experiences were gathered from those who undertook the walk over the past few years. It is hoped the book will inspire those who have not yet discovered this beautiful display of loyalty to do so soon, and provide insight to others around the world on what is now a tremendous phenomenon. I would like to thank Zuhair Rattansi for the design of the front and back covers, as well as Reshma Jaffrey for the relentless editing of this book. May Allah reward them abundantly. I would also like to thank all those who supported this work through various ways, including the many brothers and sisters who sent their experiences of the walk. May Allah grant us all the blessing to be amongst the regular visitors of the Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam in Karbala, especially during the walk of Al-Arbaeen, and bestow upon us the opportunity to receive the intercession of the Ahlulbayt alayhimus salam in the hereafter. Muhammad al-Hilli, Holy City of Najaf, 29th August 2017. With the foundation laid in the preface, we are now ready to begin the core of our journey together. Let us turn to Chapter 1, the merits of the ziyarah of Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam. Chapter 1, the merits of the ziyarah of Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam. The ziyarah of Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam has always featured heavily in the teachings of the Ahlulbayt alayhimus salam. To visit the third holy Imam is to obey a command of Allah, where He asks us to display love and loyalty towards the pure progeny. Human beings have a natural tendency to follow those who inspire them. Hence, visiting Al-Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam is the perfect way to show their connection to him in a practical way, as well as fulfill their desire to follow in the footsteps of the grandson of the Prophet. Upon doing a detailed analysis of the numerous narrations, we can find over 100 benefits of this ziyarah, both in this world and the hereafter. Some of these include extensive rewards in the hereafter. The Imam as-Sadiq alayhi salam is reported to have said, "I heard my father ask one of his followers, who had inquired about the ziyarah of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, "To whose ziyarah are you going, and whose pleasure do you seek by this ziyarah?" He replied, "Allah, the Blessed and Exalted." My father said, "One who prays one prayer at the grave of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, seeking proximity with Allah, will meet him on Judgment Day shining so brightly that his light will cover everything that looks at them. Allah will honor one who performs the ziyarah of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, and He will prevent hellfire from touching him. He will not be prevented from coming to pool of the Kawthar, and no one will precede him. The Imam Ali alayhi salam will be standing by the pool and will shake his hands and serve water to him. Then he will enter his dwellings in paradise, accompanied by an angel appointed by the Imam Ali alayhi salam, who will order the Sirat bridge to lower itself before him and order hellfire not to touch him till he passes over it. Another benefit includes the prayers of the angels. Al-Imam As-Sadiq alayhi salam is reported to have said that there are 4,000 angels by the grave of Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam, disheveled and covered with dust. They will cry over him until Judgment Day. Their chief is an angel named Mansur. These angels welcome all who come to the ziyarah of Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam and accompany them when they bid farewell to Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam, visit them if they become ill, and pray for them at their funerals when they die, and seek forgiveness for them after their death. Furthermore, the visitor is honored by Allah. The Imam As-Sadiq alayhi salam noted that all will wish on Judgment Day to be among the visitors of Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam, because they will see the way in which the visitor of Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam is honored and treated by the Almighty Allah. This act also brings the forgiveness of sins. The Imam al-Kadhim alayhi salam stated that Allah will forgive all past and future sins of one who performs the ziyarah of Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam with recognition of his rights. Another merit is being with the Ahlulbayt alayhimus salam in paradise. The Imam As-Sadiq alayhi salam is reported to have said that on Judgment Day, an announcer will call out, "Where are the visitors of Al-Hussain ibn Ali alayhi salam?" Many people, who cannot be counted by anyone other than the Almighty Allah, will come forward. Then Allah will ask them, "What impelled you to perform the ziyarah of Al-Hussain alayhi salam?" They will reply, "O Lord, we went to him for our love for Allah's Messenger, and love for Ali alayhi salam and Fatima alayhi salam, and to sympathize with him for all that which was committed against him." They will be told, "Here are Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, Ali alayhi salam, Fatima alayhi salam, Al-Hasan alayhi salam, and Al-Hussain alayhi salam. Join them, for you will be with them at their stage in paradise. Follow the standard of Allah's Messenger." So they will go to the standard of Allah's Messenger, which will be held by Ali alayhi salam. They will remain under it, before it, to its right, to its left, and behind it, until all of them enter paradise. Additionally, there are brilliant rewards. The Imam Baqir alayhi salam noted, "If people knew the reward for performing the ziyarah of Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam, their souls would leave their bodies in remorse, and they would die longing for it." I asked, "What is the reward for going to his ziyarah?" The Imam replied, "Allah will record the reward of 1,000 accepted hajjah, 1,000 accepted umrah, 1,000 martyrs of Badr, fasting of 1,000 people, 1,000 accepted prostrations, and the reward of freeing 1,000 slaves in the way of Allah, for one who goes to the ziyarah of Imam Hussain alayhi salam longing for him. He will be protected for a whole year from every calamity, the least of which is a shaitan. And Allah will appoint a noble angel to protect him from front, behind, right, left, above, and below. If he dies that year, angels of divine mercy will be present with him, bathe and shroud him, and seek forgiveness for him. They will also follow him till the grave and widen it as far as the eye can see. And Allah will keep him safe from the squeeze of the grave and from fear of angels, Munkar and Nakir. A door will also be opened from his grave to paradise. On Judgment Day, scroll of deeds will be given in his right hand, and he will shine with a light which illuminates from the east to west. And an announcer will call out, "He is one who performed the ziyarah of Imam Hussain alayhi salam with enthusiasm." After that, no one will remain on Judgment Day who will not wish he had also performed the ziyarah of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. It also prolongs life and increases sustenance. Imam Al-Baqir alayhi salam directed to order our Shia to visit the grave of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, because his ziyarah increases sustenance, prolongs life, and keeps afflictions away. It carries the reward of Al-Hajj and Umrah. A narrator said to Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, "May I be sacrificed on you? I cannot afford to go to Al-Hajj every year." Al-Imam replied, "If you ever wanted to go to the Al-Hajj but could not afford it, go to the ziyarah of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, for indeed it will be recorded as a Hajj for you. And if you ever wanted to go for Umrah but could not afford it, go to the ziyarah of the Imam Hussain alayhi salam, for indeed it will be recorded as an Umrah for you. It allows for intercession for others." The Imam Sadiq alayhi salam said that on Judgment Day, an announcer will announce, "Where are the Shia of Ali Muhammad alayhimus salam?" A group of people whose number cannot be counted except by the Almighty Allah will stand up and separate from the people. Then an announcer will announce, "Where are the visitors of the grave of the Imam Hussain alayhi salam?" A large group of people will stand up. They will be told, "Take the hand of whoever you like and take him to paradise with you." They will take whoever they like to paradise, to such an extent that a person will say to one of them, "Oh, so-and-so, don't you remember me? I stood up for you once as a mark of respect." So the visitor will take him to paradise without being stopped. Furthermore, it provides relief from distress and grief. Imam Al-Baqir alayhi salam explained that Imam Hussain alayhi salam of Karbala was slain while he was oppressed, distressed, thirsty, and aggrieved. It is indeed fitting that every aggrieved, distressed, sinful, saddened, thirsty and ill person who goes to his ziyarah and prays near his grave, seeks proximity to Allah through him, will have his grief removed, and Allah will fulfill his needs, forgive his sins, prolong his life, and increase his sustenance. So take a lesson, O those who have insight. Finally, there is an important narration on the importance of ziyarah. Muawiyah ibn Wahb, Ridwanullahi alayh, a faithful and loyal companion of the Imam, narrates he heard Imam Sadiq alayhi salam say in his prostration, "Lord, you are the one who chose us to receive your bliss, promised us to intercede, granted us the knowledge of what passed and of what remains, made the hearts of some people lean towards us. I invoke you to forgive me and my brethren And those who visit the gravesite of my grandfather Al-Hussain alayhi salam, those who spend their wealth and exhaust themselves out of their desire to express their devotion to us, hoping to earn the rewards which you have for all those who maintain their link with us, and because of the pleasure they bring to your Prophet, and out of their response to our own order to do so. Reward them for having vexed our enemy as they sought your pleasure. Do reward them, O Lord, on our behalf, and grant them sustenance during the night and the day, and be generous to their families and offspring, those who succeed them in doing such good deeds. Be their friend. Ward off from them the evil of all stubborn tyrants, all those from among your creatures. Protect their weak from the evil of the mighty ones, be they demons, humans, or jinns, and grant them the best of what they aspire, as they estrange themselves from their homelands, and for preferring us to their sons, families, and kinsfolk. Lord, our enemies find fault with their going out to visit our shrines, yet it does not stop them from doing so, unlike those who oppose us. Lord, have mercy on the faces transformed by the heat of the sun. Have mercy on the cheeks that touch the grave of Abu Abdullah alayhi salam, Al-Hussain alayhi salam. Have mercy on the eyes that weep out of kindness to us. Have mercy on the hearts that are grieved on our account and are fired with passion for us. And have mercy on those who mourn us. Lord, I implore you to be the custodian of these souls and bodies, till you bring them to the pool on the day of the great thirst. When Muawiyah ibn Wahb ridwanullahi alayh regarded this supplication as giving too much for those who visit the gravesite of Al-Imam Al-Hussain alayhi salam, Al-Imam As-Sadiq alayhi salam said to him, "Those in the heavens who supplicate for those who visit Al-Hussain alayhi salam gravesite are more numerous than those who do so on earth." As we reflect on the immense merits of this visitation, we move forward to explore the deeper meanings behind the journey's timing. Please join me in Chapter 2, The Significance of Number 40. Chapter 2, The Significance of Number 40. An examination of the Holy Quran and narrations from the Prophet and his progeny reveals an emphasis on the number 40. This number is referred to 4 times in the Holy Book. First, and when we made an appointment with Moses for 40 nights. Second, and we made an appointment with Moses for 30 nights, and completed them with 10 more. Thus, the trust of his Lord was completed in 40 nights. Third, we have enjoined man to be kind to his parents. His mother has carried him in travail and bore him in travail, and his gestation and weaning take 30 months. When he comes of age and reaches 40 years. Fourth, it shall be forbidden them for 40 years. They shall wander about in the earth. Such references in the Holy Quran cannot be coincidental, and therefore indicate the significance of this number. Similarly, the narrations from the Ahlulbayt alayhimus salam elucidate this point further. One example is the memorization of 40 ahadith. It is narrated that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam, "Whomsoever from my ummah memorizes 40 ahadith, which they will benefit from, will be resurrected by Allah on the Day of Judgment as a knowledgeable scholar." Another is not seeking repentance until the age of 40. The Prophet is narrated to have mentioned, if a person reaches the age of 40 and does not seek repentance, Satan will wipe over the face and hands and say, "Surely a face that will not succeed." Additionally, there is the dua of 40 people. Al-Imam As-Sadiq alayhi salam is narrated to have said, "If 40 people gather together and supplicate to Allah for a fulfillment of deeds, the Almighty will respond to them. Next, regarding 40 believers and the funeral. The Imam as-Sadiq alayhi salam said, when a believer dies, 40 believers should attend his funeral and say, O Allah, we do not know anything but good about him, and you are more knowledgeable about him than us. Upon this, Allah will reply, I have accepted your witnessing and have forgiven him what I know and you do not. Furthermore, praying for 40 believers before oneself is recommended. The Imam as-Sadiq alayhi salam noted, whomsoever remembers 40 believers in their supplication before remembering themselves will have their dua answered by Allah. Also, sprinkling water on the grave for 40 days. It is narrated that Muhammad ibn al-Walid was asked about the grave of Yunus ibn Ya'qub by the graveyard caretaker. Who is buried in this grave? For Ali ibn Musa al-Rida alayhi salam commanded me to water the grave for 40 months or 40 days continuously. Another example is displaying sincerity for 40 days. The Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam noted, whoever displays sincerity towards Allah for 40 days, Allah will grant him asceticism in this world and will place wisdom in their hearts and make it ooze from their tongues. Finally, narrations point to the length of the kingdom of Prophet Dawood alayhi salam to be 40 years. The emphasis on the number 40 is such that one scholar, Al-Allama al-Tahrani, in his book Al-Dhari'ah, lists the names of 77 books compiled from the 4th century until the 14th century, which have the name Al-Arbaeen. These books cover a range of areas, such as divine leadership, rulings, spirituality, and ethics. Regarding the link between Al-Imam Hussain alayhi salam and the number 40, several narrations have pointed to a connection. First, one of the signs of believers is the Arbaeen ziyarah. The Imam Al-Hasan Al-Askari alayhi salam is narrated to have said, the signs of a believer are 5, performing 51 rak'ah a day, the Arbaeen ziyarah, wearing a ring on the right hand, prostration on soil, and the proclaiming of Bismillah loudly in prayer. Second, the water drying at his grave after 40 days. The historian Ibn Kathir narrates that water was running over the grave of Al-Hussein alayhi salam, so that it is concealed. After 40 days, the water dried. A Bedouin from Bani Asad thereafter attended the grave and took parts of the soil whilst weeping. He then said, May my father and mother be scarified for you. How pure you are, and how your soil is so fragranced. Third, the weeping of the heavens and earth for 40 days. The Imam as-Sadiq alayhi salam is narrated to have said, O Zurara, the heaven wept blood for Al-Hussein alayhi salam. The earth wept for 40 days in darkness. The sun wept for 40 days through an eclipse. The mountains crumbled and exploded. The angels cried for 40 days over Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. As we uncover the deep significance behind the timing of this journey, it is vital to explore the foundations of this practice. Let us now delve into Chapter 3, the evidence for the Arbaeen ziyarah. Chapter 3, the evidence for the Arbaeen ziyarah. Scholars from the school of Ahlulbayt alayhimus salam have presented several discussions pointing towards the legitimacy and excellence of the Arbaeen ziyarah of Imam al-Hussain alayhis salam. Broadly, these are divided into 4 main areas. First, we will look at the narrations, starting with the narration of Imam al-Askari alayhis salam. The 11th holy Imam of the Ahlulbayt alayhimus salam Imam Hussain al-Askari alayhi salam is narrated to have said, "The signs of a believer are 5: performing 51 rak'ah a day, the Arbaeen ziyarah, wearing a ring on the right hand, prostration on soil, and the proclaiming of Bismillah loudly in prayer." From this narration, the words of the Imam, Ziyaratul Arbaeen, have been interpreted as the visitation of Imam Hussain alayhi salam on the 20th of Safar, 40 days after his martyrdom on the 10th of Muharram. We can infer this from the following points. First, the Arabic word al-Arbaeen has been prefixed with the alif and lam, denoting the identification of a known matter. This is referred to as the Lamul Ahd al-Dhihni, meaning the prefix of the word is understood and known to the listener, and it identifies a known aspect. This is like the word al-Rasul, meaning apostle, in the following Qur'ani verse. "But Pharaoh disobeyed the apostle, so we seized him with a terrible seizing." Clearly, the word "the" in the verse identifies Musa alayhi salam as the apostle sent by Allah. Hence, by deduction, the way the word al-Arbaeen is understood reflects what is usually associated with it, and that is the 40th of al-Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam. This is especially the case when we discuss the context of these 5 characteristics, given they are part of the attributes of a believer. Second, the word believer in the Shia heritage of narrations usually denotes a follower of Ahlulbayt alayhimus salam. This has been affirmed in the jurisprudential works on Shia jurists for centuries. Ayatollah Ali Sistani states, "At the same time, we must understand that a Muslim and a believer have been distinguished in the words of Ahlulbayt alayhimus salam, where a believer is used to refer to Shia only." Third, the political situation at the time of the Imam al-Askari alayhi salam was such that the Abbasi rulers sought desperately to erase the remembrance of the Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam and prohibit people from visiting his grave. Historians have documented how the likes of the Mutawakkil destroyed the grave and its surroundings, punishing those who made the journey to visit it. The famous historian At-Tabari narrates, "In the year 236 AH, Al-Mutawakkil ordered the destruction of Al-Hussein ibn Ali alayhi salam's grave. He also destroyed the houses adjacent to the grave. The area was then dug out and water was poured into it. People were prevented from visitation." On this basis, and given the difficult situation facing the Shia, the A'imma wanted to keep the focus on the visitation and encourage this practice to continue. Other narrations point to Al-Imam al-Askari alayhi salam asking others to perform the ziyarah on his behalf, since he was under the watchful eyes of the ruling Abbasi establishment. Despite the above, some have raised a point claiming the words of Al-Imam al-Askari alayhi salam refer to the visitation of 40 believers, not the visitation of Al-Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam's shrine during Al-Arbaeen. In response, this claim seems unsubstantiated and unsupported with evidence. Several questions regarding this interpretation must be answered. Why would 40 believers need to be visited? Does this mean 40 as Shia only? When should this visitation take place? Across a year or throughout one's lifespan? Why do we not have other similar commands from the Ahlulbayt alayhimus salam? What characteristics should be displayed by these 40 individuals? Should they be in a geographical location or around the world? What are the particulars of this visitation? Next, we look at the narration of Safwan al-Jammal. The Allamatul Majlisi has narrated the ziyarah of the Arbaeen from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. This is recited by millions of people annually during the Arbaeen. The ziyarah, explained in chapter 13, outlines the recommendation that Imam Sadiq alayhi salam presents for the Shia to undertake the visitation at this time. The second main area is the practice of the legislators, known as Siratul Mutashari'ah. One way that jurists assess the validity of an act or deed is by studying the lives of those who lived with the Ahlulbayt alayhimus salam in an attempt to analyze their conduct. They conclude that what they do is dictated by their understanding of instructions from the Ahlulbayt alayhimus salam. This is based on the concept of those who were considered worthy of being companions of the glorious household. It is noticeable that for centuries the followers of Ahlulbayt alayhimus salam have endeavored to establish the ziyarah of the Arbaeen, and this has been supported by our scholars. Despite the oppression and difficulties facing the Zuwar, the visitation continued, with people giving their lives in the effort to uphold this sign of Allah, or Sha'ira. The third area covers the recommendation to visit Imam Hussain alayhi salam every month. The A'imma encouraged their followers to visit the grave of Imam Hussain alayhi salam at all times, and certainly at least once a month. Dawood bin Farqad narrates, I asked Imam as-Sadiq alayhi salam, what is the reward of the one who visits Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam every month? The Imam replied, they will attain the reward of 100,000 martyrs, like that of the Battle of Badr. Finally, the fourth area encompasses the words and action of the ulama on Ziyarat al-Arbaeen. Many jurists, theologians, and historians have highlighted and recommended the importance of Ziyarat al-Arbaeen throughout the centuries. These include the following scholars. First, Shaykh al-Tusi in his Al-Misbah, who writes, the family of Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam returned from Syria on this day of Al-Arbaeen. Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari, Ridwanullahi alayh, the companion of the Prophet, reached Karbala from Al-Madinah to visit the grave of Al-Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam. He was the first to perform this visitation. It is recommended to visit the Imam on this day, and this is Ziyarah of Al-Arbaeen. Second, in his book Al-Mazar, Shaykh al-Mufid dedicated a section on the merits of the Arbaeen Ziyarah. Third, Al-Allama al-Hilli, in his work Muntaha al-Matlab, says it is recommended to perform his Ziyarah on the day of Al-Arbaeen, which is the 20th of Safar. Fourth, Al-Allama al-Majlisi, in his Bihar al-Anwar, comments on the virtue of his visitation on the day of Ashura, as well as the virtue of the Arbaeen Ziyarah. And finally, Sheikh Abbas al-Qummi, the author of Mafatih al-Jinan, says, the day of the 20th of Safar is the Arbaeen day. On the opinion of the two sheikhs, it is the day the family of Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam arrived in Karbala. It is recommended to perform the ziyarah of the Imam on that day. Not only did these scholars and more highlight the importance of the Arbaeen visitation, but as discussed in Chapter 5, many scholars performed the walk, setting a good example for others to emulate. Having explored the profound evidence and recommendations from scholars that legitimize this holy visitation, our journey now turns to the historical events surrounding the day itself. Let us now move to Chapter 4, where the author delves into the return of the captives and the deep historical significance of the 20th of Safar. Chapter 4. The historical significance of the 20th of Safar. One common belief regarding the significance of the Arbaeen is the historical date of the return of the captives from Asham towards Karbala, when they visited the graves of the fallen martyrs. Before discussing the details behind the historical basis and different opinions in this regard, it is important to establish a distinction between the actual historical occurrence and the significance of the Arbaeen visitation. In determining the Sharia rulings on a matter, and verifying it as obligatory, recommended, permissible, not recommended, or prohibited, the jurists consider several factors. A mere historical reference or occurrence with no supporting evidence from the sources of legislation, namely Al-Quran and As-Sunnah, may not be sufficient to conclude a ruling. Crucially, there should be a differentiation between the details of an incident and whether certain actions should take place on that day, according to Islamic law. This is significant when discussing Al-Arbaeen. Scholars have argued that the discussion on whether the Ahlulbayt alayhimussalam or some companions of the Prophet arrived in Karbala on the 20th of Safar has no bearing on the importance of ziyarah of the Arbaeen. They are two distinctly separate issues. The reason is the undeniable evidence supporting the visitation of Imam Hussain alayhi salam generally at all times and specifically during the Arbaeen. Whether we can prove the Ahlulbayt alayhimus salam and the captives arrived in Karbala on this day would not impact the commemoration of the Arbaeen. Unfortunately, some have raised misconceptions regarding this, confusing historical and jurisprudential aspects. They present arguments that dismiss the arrival of the caravan of the Ahlulbayt alayhimus salam in Karbala in the Arbaeen, and subsequently question whether the Arbaeen should be commemorated at all. This reflects a lack of understanding or possible manipulation of minds regarding the deduction of Islamic law by scholars. The various historical interpretations regarding the event of the 20th of Safar do not affect whether Al-Arbaeen should be upheld. Regarding the return of the captives to Karbala, historical narrations clearly describe how, alongside Al-Imam Hussain alayhi salam, most of his male family members as well as companions were slayed on Ashura. His family were taken as captive and paraded across cities. They were first taken to Al-Kufa, Iraq, then forced to travel towards Ash-Sham, Syria. The journey also included a number of stops at various towns and villages. After several encounters with Yazid in Damascus, the family were eventually allowed to leave to return to Al-Madinah. On their way back, many narrations point to their request to stop in Karbala to pay their respects to the fallen martyrs, as well as join the decapitated head to the bodies in the graves. Scholars from within the two major Muslim schools, Sunni and Shia, have presented a number of opinions on the event of the return of the captives from Syria to Karbala. The main ones are as follows. First, they arrived in Karbala exactly 40 days after Ashura, having been taken captive from Al-Kufa and Syria. In Karbala, they met Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari, Ridwanullahi alayh, the noble companion of the Prophet, who had arrived earlier. Second, they spent nearly a year in Damascus and arrived in Karbala on the 20th of Safar, 62 AH. It is argued that it would be difficult to travel the whole distance from Karbala to Ash-Sham and back within 40 days. Third, only Jabir ibn Abdullah Ridwanullahi alayh visited the grave of Al-Imam Hussain alayhi salam on the 20th of Safar, 61 AH, and not the Ahlulbayt alayhimus salam. Some argue they returned to Al-Madinah from Syria without stopping in Karbala at all. Fourth, the caravan of Ahlulbayt alayhimus salam visited the graves of the martyrs in Karbala on their return, but not on the 20th of Safar. Some argue that due to the slow movement of the camels and other factors, it would not have been possible to cover the distance within 40 days. Finally, a few less accepted opinions also exist, such as the caravan visiting Karbala after leaving the Kufa when it was on its way to Syria. The first and second opinions are most commonly put forward by scholars. From my research and the discussions held with various scholars, especially those in Najaf and Karbala, the most accepted historical opinion is the first one, that the caravan of the Ahlulbayt alayhimus salam visited the blessed graves of the martyrs in Karbala 40 days after Ashura in the same year, 61 AH, upon their return from Syria. Several prominent scholars have presented their evidence in this regard. One of them is Ayatollah Muhammad Sadiq al-Sadr. In his lengthy discussion on this matter, he argues the distance between Karbala and Asham is approximately 2,000 kilometers, and it is a fact well known that horses and camels used at that time could cover it within a short period. As-Sayyid al-Sadr supports his opinion by citing the jurisprudential ruling regarding the shortening of prayer whilst traveling. The ulama have demonstrated that prayers become shortened after approximately 43 kilometers from the border of the hometown. The reason for this is because it takes a loaded camel 1 day from sunrise to sunset to cover this distance. If the camel has a lesser load or is carrying a human, it is conceivable that they would cover considerably more than this, especially if they travel at night. Hence, if we suppose the camel covers 100 kilometers a day, the caravan of the captives would have covered the distance over 20 days. Ayatollah Sadr argues that if they cover 150 kilometers a day over 24 hours, since the above only considers sunset to sunrise, they would have covered the entire distance back and forth in 25 days, leaving 15 days for their stay in Al-Kufa and Asham. He believes no evidence exists that they stayed more than 15 days in both cities. It is claimed the captives could not stay long periods during the journey to Damascus and were hurried continuously by Yazid's men. This is because of the fear of reprisals and uprisings by the people they met. Also, the return from Sham to Karbala was probably covered much quicker, since they did not stop at many places. This was because the captives were eager to return home and visit the blessed graves in Karbala. Other scholars have presented the following as evidence supporting the opinion that Arbaeen was 40 days after Ashura, that is, in the year 61 AH. One piece of evidence comes from As-Sayyid Muhsin al-Amin in his book A'yan al-Shia, where he points to the Bedouins of As-Sulayb, living outside Damascus, reaching Iraq from their land in 8 days. Another point is that the person taking the letter from Yazid to his governor, Ibn Ziyad, in Al-Kufa to release Al-Mukhtar al-Thaqafi from prison, reached Al-Kufa 11 days after leaving Damascus. Furthermore, Muawiyah died on the 15th of Rajab, 60 AH, and the news reached Al-Madinah within 10 days, since Al-Imam Hussain alayhi salam left Al-Madinah on the 28th of Rajab, 13 days after Muawiyah's death. Additionally, one of the established and well-known Muslim scholars during the medieval era, Abu Rayhan al-Biruni, was well-versed in physics, mathematics, geography, and astronomy, amongst many other sciences. In his book Al-Athar al-Baqiyah, he states the captives left Al-Kufa towards Damascus on the 15th or 20th of Muharram, taking 10 or 15 days to reach Asham. The same time for their return to Karbala is not far-fetched, according to this scholar. Lastly, historians have documented the Abbasi Caliph, Harun, with individuals such as Abu Hanifa, used to witness the crescent of the month of Dhul Hijjah in Baghdad before leaving for the Hajj pilgrimage. This would mean they would take 8 days to cover the distance of approximately 1,400 kilometers, as they needed to be in Mecca by the 7th or 8th of the month. Based on the above, it is conceivable that one can roughly place a timeline for the movement of the captives towards Al-Kufa, Asham, and back to Karbala. One possibility is as follows. On the 11th of Muharram, the captives are taken to Al-Kufa and arrive there. From the 16th to the 18th of Muharram, the captives are taken towards Damascus. Between the 29th of Muharram and the 1st of Safar, they reach and enter Damascus. From the 8th to the 10th of Safar, they leave Damascus and head towards Karbala. Finally, on the 20th of Safar, they reach Karbala. While many scholars and historians from within the Shia school have adapted this belief, one cannot entirely dismiss or disrespect the opinion espoused by others that the visitation of the Arbaeen by the Holy Family took place a year later. Irrespective of the opinions, nothing can affect or take away the blessed nature and the significance of the annual multi-million people walk to the city of martyrs. Reflecting on what happened on the day of the Arbaeen in the year 61 AH in Karbala, it is generally accepted that the first person to perform the ziyarah of the grave of Imam Hussain alayhi salam in Karbala was the famous companion of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam, Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari ridwanullahi alayh. Jabir ridwanullahi alayh was a trusted Sahabi who lived to meet the fifth Imam of the Ahlulbayt alayhimus salam, Al-Imam Muhammad al-Baqir alayhis salam. He was accompanied by his servant Aqiyya, and the exact date of when he reached Karbala is unknown. He was blind at that time. Upon his arrival in Karbala, he performed ghusl, the washing of body, and asked to be taken to the grave of Al-Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam. Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari ridwanullahi alayh stood at the grave and burst in tears, then thrice called out Al-Hussain alayhi salam's name. Then he said, "Why a loved one does not answer one who loves him?" But soon he answered his own query by saying, "How can he answer while his cheeks are torn, his head separated from his body? Yet I bear witness that you are the son of the seal of prophets, the son of the master of the faithful, the son of the inseparable ally of piety, the descendant of guidance, the fifth of the fellows of the Kisa, the son of the master of the Nuqaba, the one who was brought up in the lap of the pious, that you were raised on the milk of Iman, that you were weaned with Islam, so you were good when you were alive, and you are so when dead. But the hearts of the faithful are not pleased with parting with you, nor do they have any doubt about goodness being yours. So peace of Allah be upon you and His pleasure. And I bear witness that you treaded the same path treaded before you by your brother Prophet Zakaria alayhi salam." Having said so, Jabir ridwanullahi alayh turned his head around the grave as he said, "Assalamu alaykum, O souls that abide at Al-Hussain alayhi salam's courtyard. I bear witness that you upheld the prayers and paid the zakat, enjoined what is right and prohibited what is wrong, struggled against the atheists and adored Allah till death overtook you. By the one who sent Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi, peace of Allah be upon him and upon his progeny, as his prophet with the truth, we have a share in what you have earned." Atiyatul Awfi, his companion leading him since he was a blind old man, asked him, "How so, when we did not descend a valley, nor ascend a mountain, nor did we strike with a sword, whereas the heads of these people have been severed from their bodies, their sons have been orphaned, and their wives widowed?" Jabir ridwanullahi alayh answered, "I heard the Messenger of Allah, whom I very much love, saying, one who loves a certain people will be lodged with them, and one who loves what some people do will have a share in the rewards of their deeds. By the one who sent Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam as a prophet, with the intention, and that of my companions is identical to the one for which Al-Hussein alayhi salam and his companions were all killed. The Sayyid ibn Tawus, in his book Al-Luhuf fi Qatl al-Tufuf, sheds light on the meeting that took place between Jabir Ridwanullahi alayh and the arriving caravan of the Ahlulbayt alayhimus salam. When the women of Al-Hussein alayhi salam left Damascus, they asked to be taken to Karbala. Upon reaching there, they found Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari Ridwanullahi alayh with a few others from Bani Hashim and the family of the Prophet. The latter had come to visit the grave of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. They met them and began to weep, lament, and beat their chests. They remained like this for several days. One can only imagine the pain and anguish the Ahlulbayt alayhimus salam endured when they visited the graves. Undoubtedly, they would remember the tragedy and what befell their own relatives. It is also recorded in history that the heads of the martyrs, which had been paraded to Al-Kufa and Ash-Sham, were now joined with their bodies on the day of the Arbaeen. This included the blessed head of Al-Imam Hussain alayhi salam. With the historical context of this momentous day firmly established, we now turn to the profound impacts of the journey itself. Let us move to the next section, titled Chapter 5, The Benefit of the Arbaeen Walk. Chapter 5, The Benefit of the Arbaeen Walk. There is an agreement amongst many that humans are driven towards tasks and deeds by the extent of benefit attained and harm avoided. Whether it's seeking education, gaining popularity, or seeking a livelihood through employment, there is an underlying outcome expected and shared across these processes, tangible benefits utilized by human beings. Perhaps the greater the reward, the more we enthusiastically approach these tasks. For example, many people would struggle with the notion of working in a company or an institution for years without receiving any remuneration or financial reward. The ultimate wisdom of the Almighty is such that as the Creator, He knows fully well what drives us to perform tasks and deeds. Hence, we find the Holy Quran pointing to the benefits of certain acts of worship, even though believers are instructed to trust God and submit in their willingness to worship Him. As an example, the daily prayers are prescribed for Muslims, so they continuously remember God and stay connected with the divine. Indeed, I am Allah. There is no God except me. So worship me and maintain the prayer for my remembrance. Yet the Quran points to an important realization. Performing prayers is crucial in the soul's defense mechanism against vice and evil. Adherence to Salah and its correct maintenance strengthens the ability to repel sins and transgressions throughout our lives. Recite what has been revealed to you of the book and maintain the prayer. Indeed, the prayer prevents indecencies and wrongs. The Quran is categorically emphasizing that not only are prayers a beautiful form of dhikr as they enhance the spiritual experience and solidify the connection with our Creator, but they also have the incredible power to bring about social harmony within society. Interactions between people are strengthened when believers utilize the power of prayers to reflect good ethical traits when dealing and interacting with others. Hence, scholars emphasize that an important sign of the acceptance of Salah is whether it has had a positive impact on the social etiquette of its performer and has prevented wrongful practice. What is important is that not only are we promised eternal reward in God's pleasure in the hereafter, But submitting to His will also brings about positive benefits in our worldly lives. Another demonstration of this is the annual pilgrimage, known as the Al-Hajj. Despite being obligatory for a Muslim only once in a lifetime, the Al-Quran affirms the believers who conduct it appropriately in accordance with God's laws will witness several benefits. And proclaim the Hajj to people. They shall come to you on foot and on lean camels coming from distant places, that they may witness the benefits for them. These benefits include spiritual, social, economic, political, and personal gains. The better the act of worship, the more of these are received and felt by the believers. Undoubtedly, this increases the enthusiasm and commitment in approaching these acts of worship. For centuries, Muslims have endeavored to build and visit shrines and mausoleums of holy personalities across the world. Many see this as a display of loyalty and love towards these individuals, who have usually left a lasting legacy in the hearts of people. Not surprisingly, such practice is not confined to the Shia, but rather to most Muslims in various countries. From the Imam Hussain alayhi salam shrine in Cairo, visited by millions annually, to the shrine of Abu Hanifa in Baghdad, the belief in ziyarah has been integral within the teachings of most Muslims, including the Sunni denomination. In my travels to Turkey and Egypt, I visited these holy sites and witnessed firsthand the devotion and love expressed towards the people buried there. The Arbaeen ziyarah is one of the greatest manifestations of this love towards the holy family of the Prophet. The millions who undertake the walk from various parts of Iraq towards the city of Karbala include people of many nationalities, but also individuals from various non-Shia Muslim denominations. In addition, people of other faiths have participated in the walk, as documented by officials. Despite the incredible dedication displayed by those serving the visitors of Al-Imam Al-Hussain alayhi salam, and the grand demonstration of love towards the grandson of the Prophet by the millions visiting, many witness a wide variety of benefits in undertaking this act of worship. These include personal, social, economic, and political gains. We will first look at the personal benefits. This is related to advantages that can be attained for the personal progression of the visitor, sometimes witnessed after the walk and upon return to their homelands. Importantly, some of these gains are obtained if the visitor is seeking self-development and wants to utilize this life-changing experience for their benefit. The first of these personal benefits is patience and solitude. An important dimension of the acts of worship designated in Islamic teachings is the goal of enhancing sabr, or patience, which would ultimately help the human being in countering the many challenges presented to them in life. Patience is a wonderful virtue needed to achieve success in this world and the hereafter. It is a trait emphasized in the Quran and the teachings of the Ahlulbayt alayhimus salam, stating, "And give good news to the patient, and indeed Allah is with the patient," as well as, "Indeed the patient will be paid in full their reward, without any reckoning." The importance of inculcating patience within our conduct is mentioned in numerous narrations, such as one in particular from Imam Ali alayhi salam, where he says, "The similitude of patience to faith is that of the head to the body. If it's separated, the body has no use. Likewise, if there is no patience, there is no faith." During the Arbaeen walk, the visitors typically undertake a journey that involves walking for tens of kilometers. They usually encounter congestion, uncomfortable sleep, threat of terrorism, unconventional sanitation, and extremes of weather. I have witnessed some zuwar who walk despite pain in their bodies or legs or other forms of physical illness due to the strenuous nature of the journey. In addition, they may face behaviors from a small number that might irritate or anger them, including pushing to attain food. In many instances, the visitors sleep with tens of others within a tent or a large hall, encountering frequent sleep disturbances caused by noise, such as snoring or people talking, or a lack of space. These and more are just some challenges faced in this endeavor, yet they exist for specific reasons. Like the Hajj pilgrimage, the visitor encountering this would need to have the mental and physical strength to embrace these difficulties. Ultimately, the demonstration of patience across the walk will equip the believers to stand up to the tribulations of life with patience and strength, appreciating the universal law of trials that applies to all and is present to make us better human beings. It is also the case that people have different thresholds of patience in terms of their capability to deal with that which they face. Experiencing the Arbaeen walk with the correct mindset can surely raise this threshold, enabling us to seek the patience we so desperately need to be amongst the righteous. One can admire the strength of the Ahlulbayt alayhimus salam, including the caravan of captives who had to endure a much more difficult journey whilst feeling the whips and sticks of the enemy. They passed from one city to another whilst bearing humiliation and torture, yet remaining resolute and firm in faith. Hence we read in the ziyarah, "The angels are surprised by your patience." The second personal benefit is the release of tensions and stress. Due to the increasing workload and pressures of life, many of us frequently encounter feelings of stress, tension, or anxiety. These can be detrimental to health, well-being, spirituality, and self-progression. While walking towards the land of Karbala, the visitors of the Imam Hussain alayhi salam lose themselves in the sea of the devotees, and the everyday stresses of life seem to disappear as they walk towards the man whose faith and strength never cease to amaze. Many are absorbed by the atmosphere, which is generally characterized by people who have an awe-inspiring willingness to serve others and be of as much help as they can. The air is heavy with the melancholy sounds of grief and sorrow. The raw sadness felt across the walk only affirms the connection the believer seeks to establish with the Master of Martyrs, whilst reflecting on how, through tragedy, the movement of the Imam Hussain alayhi salam remains eternally influential.
The visitor will listen to and beat their chest, meet others less fortunate, seek to serve others, chant, and capture mental images that will inspire them forever. It is also worth noting, throughout the many years I have been honored to undertake this spiritual journey, making phone calls or connecting to the internet is usually very difficult.
Perhaps advantageously, this allows for a better focus on the experience and minimizes distractions throughout the walk. When speaking to many zuwar who have undertaken this journey from various parts of the world, the clear majority seek to return to perform the walk to Karbala. The numbers participating has increased annually. This highlights that, despite the difficulties and challenges, the zuwar witness many benefits and recognize the importance this walk plays in their lives. A third personal benefit involves attaining health benefits. For centuries, scientific research has demonstrated the numerous benefits, both physical and mental, of walking. From a report entitled "The Benefits of Regular Walking for Health, Well-Being and the Environment," published by a think tank in 2012, the following conclusion is derived. Walking is one of the least expensive and most broadly accessible forms of physical activity. It is rarely associated with physical injury and can easily be adopted by people of all ages, including those who have never participated in physical activity. Studies have shown that walking has higher levels of adherence than other forms of physical activity, possibly because it is convenient and overcomes many of the commonly perceived barriers to physical activity: lack of time, lack of fitness, or lack of skill. The report also indicated that regular walking improves balance, halves the risk of Alzheimer's disease over 5 years, engages abdominal muscles, and improves heart health by increasing heart rate and circulation. Many more benefits have been detailed by scientific findings. This is especially the case if the walk is sustained over time. Interestingly, this is also supported in Islamic teachings. Jabir, Ridwanullahi alayh, narrates that a group of people complained of tiredness to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alih. He prayed for them and told them to walk at pace. Upon trying this, they reported their condition improved. Fourth is reflection and introspection. Due to the increasing trend of being busy, either with gadgets or through other means, we may find it difficult in our daily lives to set aside time for ourselves and engage in healthy contemplation. The practice of tafakkur, known as pondering and reflection, has been emphasized in the Al-Quran on numerous occasions. Those who remember Allah standing, sitting, and lying on their sides, and reflect on the creation of the heavens and the earth, and say, "Our Lord, you have not created this in vain. Immaculate are you. Save us from the punishment of the fire." Such contemplation allows us to consolidate our thoughts, focus on objectives, and reaffirm our commitment towards the goal of our existence, seeking the pleasure of the Almighty. Whilst we might be very busy back home, attempting to find the time and space to undertake this act of worship, the walk to Karbala is a crucial opportunity to engage in introspection and self-accountability. Questions that the visitor should seek to think about include, for example, how have I lived my life so far? How can I be inspired by Ashura to improve my spiritual progression? How can I contribute positively and improve the lives of others? How do I ensure my family is adherent to the path of truth? And how do I protect myself from satanic thoughts and temptations? These and many more questions can be uniquely tailored around one's individual preferences. At the same time, the walk enables us to reignite our passion towards serving humanity through the Quran and Ahlulbayt alayhimus salam. Through a positive mindset and a determined attitude, the visitor of the Imam Hussain alayhi salam will seek to strengthen their willpower and self-control via their quest for virtue and righteousness. Similarly, reflection should also be infused with the remembrance of God, expressing gratitude for the unquantifiable bounties bestowed upon us, especially the opportunity to be part of the biggest annual peaceful gathering in the world. The final personal benefit is enhancing spirituality. The most outstanding characteristic in the life of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, the Ahlulbayt alayhimus salam, and the prophets is their association with God and their absolute submission to Him. A visitor to Karbala, through the effort of walking for tens of kilometers, would seek their heart to be illuminated with guidance and would yearn to taste the sweetness of proximity to God. Throughout the journey, many visitors stop to perform congregational prayers on time at Mawaqib and Hussainiyat. This happens across a few days. The establishment of congregational prayers on such a scale continuously may not be something many have performed before. Not only does this and other collective acts of worship, such as reciting ziyarah or attending majalis, bring them reward from Allah, but it can also set the scene for further practice upon returning to their homelands. For many, it sets a new beginning and a fresh start towards practicing faith and adhering to Allah's commands. Additionally, the spirit of generosity and serving others can only inspire millions to do what they can in the name of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. According to narrations, the closest position attained by humans to their Creator is when they place happiness in the hearts of other believers. It is envisaged that, collectively, the visitors can motivate each other to utilize the experience of Arbaeen in re-examining their relationship with Allah by looking at ways to strengthen the bond and purify the heart. The spirit of giving for the sake of Allah includes the rejection of egoism and self-love. These vices and others, such as arrogance and prejudice, are impediments towards a submissive heart to the Almighty. Throughout the various stages of this journey, the incredible degree of service, support, and assistance displayed by those who want to make the Zuwar happy should deter evil thoughts of jealousy and satanic tendencies towards self-glorification. The more determined and focused we are, the greater the outcomes after the journey is over. Having covered the personal advantages, we will now explore the social benefits of the Arbaeen walk. The first social benefit is brotherhood and unity. Across many centuries, human beings have suffered extensively with the politics of division, hatred, bigotry, discrimination, and prejudice. Millions of innocent souls have been killed due to racist tendencies, whilst many have been displaced from their lands because of ethnic cleansing. Islam denounces racism and discrimination, encouraging its followers to display love, respect, coexistence, and a strong sense of brotherhood. Diversity in creation is one of the hallmarks of the wisdom of the Almighty, and He informs mankind they must embrace this to get to know each other. O mankind, indeed we created you from a male and a female, and made you nations and tribes, that you may identify yourselves with one another. Indeed, the noblest of you in the sight of Allah is the most God-wary among you. Indeed, Allah is all-knowing, all-aware. In his famous instructions to his newly appointed governor of Egypt, Malik al-Ashtar, Al-Imam Ali alayhi salatu wassalam famously established the foundation of a believer's interaction with others. People are of two kinds, either your brother in faith or equal in humanity. In modern times, certain groups, politicians, parts of the media, and other extreme-minded individuals have attempted to espouse hatred, division, disunity, and discrimination. This has invariably given rise to victimization and harassment of many, especially Muslims. The Shia have been victims of hatred and violence for hundreds of years. One of the beautiful outcomes of the Arbaeen walk, completed by millions annually, is the enhancement of the spirit of brotherhood and social cohesion. I have witnessed people from various countries, including Thailand, China, Brazil, Ghana, and Mozambique, participating with love in their hearts and loyalty on their lips. What unites them is the love of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, and this is expressed through service to each other, whether it's food, accommodation, foot massages, washing clothes, warm drinks, or medicines. People are not characterized according to their background or ethnicity. The sense of unity can be felt across the walk and beyond, and their unquestionable love for the beloved grandson of the Prophet provides adrenaline in abundance. The constant encouragement, prayers, and words of support on the path to Karbala indicates the real sense of brotherhood amongst the visitors. Due to the constant threat of extremist elements attempting to infiltrate and cause widespread carnage, people are constantly on the lookout for each other, alert to spot any potential dangers. Wonderful sights are beheld, such as people helping and encouraging the elderly and disabled, others embracing young children as they walk, whilst some share necessities such as blankets and medicine. These send a powerful and unrelenting message of unison and harmony. Whether they are rich or poor, men or women, young or old, people of power or not, the educated and the not, they walk side by side. Knowing such diversity was a hallmark of the army of the Imam Hussain alayhi salam, and that superiority in the eyes of Allah is only measured by God consciousness. Stopping by at Mawakib, people often initiate conversations with their fellow Za'ir. Many establish bonds of friendship and seek to alleviate each other's hardships and difficulties. Undoubtedly, such social unity brings happiness to the heart of the awaited Saviour, Al-Imam al-Mahdi, Ajjalallahu ta'ala farajahu sharif, who, with the rest of the Ahlulbayt alayhimus salam, taught brotherly love and care. The Imam Sadiq alayhi salam is reported to have said, "A believer is a brother of another believer, like one body. If one of the parts is in pain, the rest of the body feels the suffering." Another crucial social benefit is reinforcing the identity. Whilst walking alongside the thousands on the road to Karbala, the visitor feels an immense sense of pride and honor to be considered a follower of the Ahlulbayt alayhimus salam. At a time when some are feeling the full force of Islamophobia and Shiaphobia, this sense of belonging and the unified identity of the followers of Al-Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam rejuvenates their spirit and increases self-assurance. The freedom to practice and mourn, coupled with the atmosphere of grief in remembering the tragedy of Ashura, evokes much emotion, usually leading to a stronger connection with these holy individuals. The Imam Ali alayhi salam is reported to have said, "Our Shia display happiness when we are happy, and are grieving when we grieve." Participation in the Arbaeen walk also gives confidence to the believers living in the West to be ambassadors of this act of devotion in their countries. When speaking with others who may not have heard of the millions who walk, the description of the experience gives rise to a better profile and reputation for Shia Muslims around the world. We must also recognize the impact of social support. Despite estimations suggesting there are between 10 to 20 million visitors each Al-Arbaeen, the supply of food, water, and essential necessities has not been adversely affected nor diminished. Mawakib eagerly invite the Zawar to eat or take rest, making it their pride to serve them with anything. Although some have attempted to calculate the cost of providing food to such a sheer volume of people, it will undoubtedly be in the millions of dollars. The majority of the money spent is via donation or from the Mawakib gathering funds throughout the year. The support presented to the needy, homeless, and the orphans throughout the walk is also very evident. Several leading organizations dedicated to alleviating the suffering of the poor and the destitute set up desks and mawakib inviting donations. The visitor of the Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam is reminded that meaningful participation in the walk should be concluded by committing to positively changing the lives of others as much as possible. by sponsoring one of the estimated 4 million orphans in Iraq, the visitor is putting in practice an important lesson from the illustrious life of the Imam. I also witnessed throughout the years the willingness of some brothers and sisters to donate generously towards the mawakib and those offering services to the visitors. Similarly, some have approached the needy and aided them in whatever way possible. The opportunity to make this positive contribution is presented by being in this place and walking alongside the other Zuwar. Due to absent-mindedness or a busy schedule, we may sometimes overlook the pressing requirements of others and need to be reminded about them continuously. Walking to Karbala is a great way to increase exposure and highlight the ever-growing needs of those less fortunate. Next is solidarity with the martyrs. Plagued with wars and acts of terror, the Iraqi people have experienced years of hardship and the devastating loss of innocent life. In defending the holy shrines and their country, thousands have given up their lives participating in combat against extremist groups such as Daesh and Al-Qaeda. Throughout the walk, their images are plastered in many places, reminding the visitors of their dedication in giving their lives in the path of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. At the same time, one can identify that many of these martyrs were young men responding to the call of the Marja'iyya without hesitation. Participating in the walk allows the visitor to appreciate the sacrifice offered by these selfless heroes and how they are defenders of humanity against the evil of terrorism. Realization dawns that without the wisdom of our ulama and the bravery of our brothers and the support of their families, the Arbaeen walk might not have been possible. The Zuwar are reminded of the need to pray for those who continue to fight at the battlefields, as well as the importance of supporting their families, especially the widows and orphans, as well as others as much as one can. Finally, the walk serves as an expression of strength against the enemies. Videos and images of the millions marching peacefully to Karbala from different cities in Iraq through the month of Safar are powerful depictions of strength and unity against the enemies of Islam. Despite the various targeting of the Shia in many countries through suicide bombings, assassinations, imprisonments, or banning of publications, the walk of the Arbaeen demonstrates the Shia Muslims will not compromise their faith, nor will they be defeated. This is also a demonstration of the powerful legacy of Imam Hussain alayhi salam and his influence upon the masses. Despite the near 1400-year gap between the event of Ashura, the millions of men and women, young or old, are not fazed by the threat of terrorism and other challenges. They emerge with conviction and passion to recall the sacrifice of the Ahlulbayt alayhimus salam.
This is exactly what the brave and eloquent sister of famously uttered in the courtyard of the tyrant. You may contrive and try however much you can.
By him who honored us with revelation, the book and prophethood, you cannot achieve our status, nor reach our position, nor can you effect our mention, nor remove from yourself that shame and dishonor that is now your lot because of perpetrating excess and oppression on us. Your word now is weak, and your days are counted. Beware of the day when the announcer would announce the curse of Allah on the oppressors and the unjust. Chants and banners proclaiming Hayhaka minna dhillah, or never will we surrender, can be heard and seen across the walk, signifying the determination of people in remaining dignified and never bowing towards tyranny and injustice. This was the call of Imam Hussain alayhi salam 1400 years ago, and it is being duly carried by generations who have committed to learn from him and to remain faithful in his path. Beyond the personal and social levels, we must also examine the theological and religious benefits. The first of these is the establishment of wilaya and bara'ah, or rejection. An important part of the branches of faith, as stipulated within a Shia Islam, is the acceptance of the full authority and divinely chosen status of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his Ahlulbayt alayhimus salam. This concept, known as wilaya, is established through numerous Qur'ani verses and many narrations. For example, your guardian is only Allah, His apostle, and the faithful who maintain the prayer and give the zakah while bowing down. The rejection and distancing from their enemies is important, in line with Qur'ani direction. You will not find a people believing in Allah and the Last Day, endearing those who oppose Allah and His apostle, even though they were their own parents or children or brothers or kinsfolk. For such He has written faith into their hearts and strengthened them with a spirit from Him. Al-Imam Ar-Ridha alayhi salam is reported to have said, "The completion of religion is the belief in our authority and the rejection of our enemies." The visitors to Karbala, walking passionately alongside their brothers and sisters, demonstrate a manifestation of the loyalty and wilaya to the Ahlulbayt alayhimus salam. I am peaceful to those whom you are peaceful to, and stand against those whom you stood against till the day of judgment. By uttering these words in ziyarah, they are proclaiming their loyalty to the holy household and exhibit unwavering commitment to the Prophet of Islam and his progeny. Practically, this would mean that whatever pleases the glorious household should be performed, and whatever displeases them should be avoided. This intense love for Imam Hussain alayhi salam would mean dedication towards all the values he stood for and rejection to that which he sought to uproot. A second religious benefit is the recognition of the asma, or error-free grace of the Imam. The millions walking to Karbala will recite, as far as the ziyarah of Imam Hussain alayhi salam is concerned, the following: I bear witness that verily you were a light in the sublime loins and purified wombs. The impurities of ignorance did not even touch you, nor could its soiled and dirty bearing ever smear you. I bear witness that verily you are the mainstay of the religion and the supporter of the faithful ones. I bear witness that verily you are a pious, God-fearing, favorite, wise, and rightly guided Imam. I bear witness that the A'imma in your progeny are the words of piety, and the signs of guidance, and the safe handle of Islam, and the decisive argument for the humankind. This testimony is important, since there have been calls throughout history and during recent times questioning the legitimacy of the movement of the Imam Hussain alayhi salam. The Umayyad propaganda machine spread the false belief that the Imam did not respect the Caliph of the time and therefore deserved to be killed. Sadly, such falsehood continues to be echoed today. By participating in this huge show of loyalty, the visitor declares that the statements, movement, sacrifice, and stance of Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam are a part of Allah's commands, and the Imam is error-free. This is established in the Holy Quran. Verily, Allah wants to protect you, O family of the Prophet, from impurities and cleanse you a thorough purification. A third religious benefit is pledging allegiance. A study of the events preceding 10th Muharram especially the sermons delivered by Imam Hussain alayhi salam, reveals the extent of his determination to stand against the injustice of Yazid. For example, when the governor of Al-Medina demanded he give allegiance to the Umayyad tyrant, the response was unwavering. "We are the household of the Prophet, the substance of the message, the ones visited by the angels. It is through us that Allah initiates and concludes. Yazid is a man of sin, a drunkard, a murderer of the soul, the killing of which Allah has prohibited, a man who is openly promiscuous. A man like me shall never swear the oath of allegiance to a man like him." Participation in the Arbaeen walk is akin to standing in solidarity with the Imam and his revolution against oppression. It is also a stance of defiance against the oppressive rulers and tyrants who terrorize people. Therefore, throughout history, many have attempted to prohibit the walk or ziyarah, threatening persecution and imprisonment. This includes the likes of the Abbasi ruler Al-Mutawakkil, who promised to amputate the hands and legs of those who visit Al-Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam. Similarly, the despotic regime of Saddam al-Hussein alayhi salam executed thousands caught secretly walking to Karbala throughout the 1980s and 90s. Yet, despite this, it is God's decree that the walk today is the world's largest annual peaceful gathering and is going from strength to strength. The following Qur'ani verse illustrates this beautifully. They desire to put out the light of Allah with their mouths, but Allah shall perfect His light, though the faithless should be averse. The calls of Ya Hussein by the visitors reverberate across hundreds of kilometers of the walk to Karbala and are a response to the Imam's call for help on the day of Ashura, when he famously said, "Is there anyone to help us?" The message of strength and solidarity with the Imam, coupled with the rejection of tyranny and oppression, is keenly felt and witnessed, trembling the heart of every tyrant and giving hope to those oppressed throughout the world. The final religious benefit we will discuss is the demand for rights. The Arbaeen walk is considered a massive international conference for the followers of the Ahlulbayt alayhim salam. People gather from many parts of the world and display their devotion towards the lantern of guidance and the ship of salvation, that is Al-Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam. One objective is to send a powerful message to the countries with Shia Muslim residents who have developed policies of discrimination and harassment against them. The message is clear. The Shia are not few, nor do they lack resources or effective leadership. They will not tolerate oppression, nor will they be ignored. They should be treated equally and fairly with other citizens. Some of those coming from oppressive regimes utilize this opportunity to highlight the extent of tyranny they are facing by holding solidarity programs, establishing their own mawaqib, distributing books and pamphlets, and displaying images of martyrs who gave their lives in defense of human rights and dignity. Having understood the profound spiritual, social, and political benefits of this journey, we now turn our attention to the physical act of walking itself. Let us move to Chapter 6, The Walk to Karbala, Background and Philosophy.